Alright, yeah, welcome back to some more Magic Arena, and today is a Christmas special. Happy holidays, everyone. Hopefully you're having a pretty good day. Making this video mostly because I know with today's situation, quite a fair few of you may not be doing your usual Christmas traditions and whatnot, so hoping that I can fill a little bit of the void with some video content this week as well, so hopefully you guys enjoy today's video. It is a Christmas special, and that means a Christmas-themed deck. And today is no exception. This is a Christmas-themed deck, alright. We're going to be playing some Godpharaoh's Gift, because it's got the word gift in it, and that's a lot like Christmas, you know? Consumerism and all that. So we're going to be playing Godpharaoh's Gift. The reason why I chose mono black is because black is like the colour of snow when it's dark. But yeah, Fiend Artisan is kind of a trigger for Godpharaoh's Gift. It's the reason to be in black X decks anyway for Godpharaoh's Gift. And yeah, it's a 1/1 that comes back with Godpharaoh's Gift. I should probably tell you what this combo does if you don't know, but I'll finish my sentence first. Comes back as a 4/4, and then it gets +1/+1 for each creature in your graveyard. It's kind of the whole point of the deck, is to have as many creatures in your graveyard, so this should be huge, massive. So yes, the combo. Godpharaoh's Gift and Gate to the Afterlife are our build-arounds today. A 7-mana artifact. I'm sure most of you know what this is, but, you know, if you don't. At the beginning of combat on your turn, you may exile a creature card from your graveyard, and if you do, you create a token that is a copy of that card, except for it is a 4/4 black zombie. It gains haste until the end of the turn. So basically, we can fill our graveyard, and then Godpharaoh's Gift, every single combat, is going to give us a brand new tool at our disposal. The way that we're going to get this 7-mana artifact into play, and we're not going to be casting it most of the time at least, is via Gate to the Afterlife, a 3-mana artifact, which says whenever a non-token creature you control dies, you gain 1 life, and then you may draw a card. If you do, discard a card. So basically, we benefit a little bit from chump blocking, and we also get to loot to fill up the graveyard for the Godpharaoh's Gift. But to actually use Gate to the Afterlife effectively, we need to get 6 creatures in our graveyard for that 2-mana tap activation there. So once we have 6 creatures in our yard, we can sacrifice the Gate to the Afterlife and go grab a Godpharaoh's Gift from either our hand, graveyard, or library. So anywhere it is, doesn't really matter, it's getting put into play, and then we get to do our thing. So, in order to fill up the graveyard, we've got a couple of tools here at our disposal. Stitcher Supplier and Maya Triton are going to be the main ones. So, this is a 1-mana 1/1. When it enters the battlefield or dies, it mills 3 cards. So, we will want to be killing it quite a fair bit, and we do have plenty of ways to do that. But for the most part, a 1-mana mill 3 is also pretty good for us. Maya Triton is a 2-mana 2/1 with Death Touch, so a very good blocker. Also mills 2 and gains us 2 life, so pretty good against the aggro decks as well in the format. So speaking of ways to sacrifice it, in our mana base, it's pretty much the only, you know, special part about our mana base. We have 3 copies of Phyrexian Tower. This is a legendary land, so if you play at the wrong time, you will legend rule your own land. Keep that in mind. It taps for colorless, or you can sacrifice a creature to add double black. Now, we do want to be sacrificing quite a fair few creatures, because, you know, we don't want to be relying on our opponent to kill our own creatures, because if they know we're playing Gate to the Afterlife, they probably will try to avoid it quite a lot of the time. So we can sacrifice the Stitcher Supplier to actually produce 2 black mana and also trigger the death trigger off of this card. And if we're lucky enough, that mill 6 that we just did would be enough to flip Gate to the Afterlife. And we generate the 2 mana from the tower, which is conveniently exactly the amount of mana we need to play Gate to the Afterlife's activated ability. We can also, on turn 2 as well, if we've got Phyrexian Tower out and a Stitcher Supplier or a Crypt Breaker as well, we can use the Phyrexian Tower to produce the 2 mana plus the Swamp for turn 2 to get the Gate to the Afterlife out as early as possible. So those are really nice little combos. In addition to our sacrificing off of Phyrexian Tower, we have Priest of the Forgotten Gods. It's really good at dealing with auras with a, you know, not so protected Boggle, for example. You can sacrifice 2 other creatures, make your opponent sacrifice, gain 2 life, and also, they lose 2 life, and you add 2 black and draw a card. Again, 2 black to activate the Gate to the Afterlife. Lovely and convenient. Woe Strider can sack any other creature for free, and it also comes with a 0/1 goat token, so it is a 2 for 1. Really nice for sacking Priests of the Forgotten Gods as well. So you can use that ability on turn 3 straight away to get rid of a creature. We got 3 copies of Chupacabra, just as nice creature removal as well. Speaks for itself for the most part. Finally, the meme of the deck, because you know I can't do any video without some sort of hyper meme in the list. We're going to be running the Haunt of Hightower, a card I have tried to make work in so many different ways, and it never has. This is finally the place for it. It's a 6-mana 3/3 with flying and lifelink, and when it attacks, defending player discards a card. Whenever a card is put into an opponent's graveyard from anywhere, put a counter on the Haunt of Hightower, which means if we have a Haunt in the graveyard, it will come back as a 4/4 due to the stipulation of the Godfarer's Gift, and it will also attack, make our opponent discard a card, which could be really useful, and when they discard that card, it becomes a 5/5 with flying and lifelink. So another way of cheating on the Godfarer's Gift kind of 4/4 restriction. We can make our things nice and big. Similar kind of effect in that sense to the Fiend Artisan, which comes back as a 4/4 and gets those +1/+1s after the fact. There's a few cards that kind of do that. The only way you can really exploit it, though, is mostly by the +1/+1. If it says something like its power and toughness is equal to X, then Godfarer's Gift overrides that for the record. So there's a couple of cards that don't really work in that sense, like Beanstalk Giant, for example. But you could use something like Multani, whose power and toughness are equal to the number of lands in your graveyard in play as well. That's kind of a cute one. I tried that. It was terrible. Don't do it. But yes, Haunt of Hightower is kind of fun. It will come back as a 5/5, which is, you know, Burn's worst nightmare. And if they actually try to use a burn spell on it, when they resolve their spell and it goes into the graveyard, Haunt of Hightower will get a counter on it. It's literally any card goes from anywhere. So if our opponent mills their deck, you know, in a mirror match scenario, then this is going to be fueling up as well. There's quite a fair bit of graveyard interaction. Uros going into play and sacrificing themselves gives you a Haunt of Hightower trigger. There's lots of stuff. The final thing I should note is we're running 3 copies of Grafdigger's Cage. The reason being is that this card doesn't really stop our combo. So it says that creature cards in graveyards and libraries can't enter the battlefield, and players can't cast spells from graveyards or libraries. So there's 2 things that this card does negatively to us. The one thing it does is stops us from escaping the Woe Strider. That's not too bad, because we kind of want it in our graveyard most of the time anyway, to pay for the Gate to the Afterlife's activate ability. It also shuts off the sacrifice another creature to search your library for any other card. So it's 2 things you got to keep in mind. Other than that, it completely does nothing against our deck. So, you know, when it says that creature cards can't enter the battlefield from graveyards, that's not what Godfarer's Gift actually does. What Godfarer's Gift actually does is it exiles a creature and makes a token copy of it. So there's no actual from graveyard to battlefield shenanigans going on with GPG. So Grafdigger's Cage doesn't work there. The reason we're running it, though, is primarily because we will auto-lose against goblins if we don't have it. We will probably auto-lose against Pyromancer. This stops Croxers and Uros and things like that, as well as Claim to Fames. So it's pretty good as well. And also stops Dreadhorde Arcanist. So it's actually a really good card in the format. The problem is, you know, you can't always run this card, because you probably want to be doing similar degenerate shenanigans. But yeah, that's my reasoning for running it. I'm not going to go for the full playset, because obviously in a few scenarios it's pretty bad. It's not going to do anything against auras, for example, for the most part, unless you take care of all of their creatures, and then Lurrus doesn't work. Another good example for Grafdigger's Cage. It's a pretty good card, though, and, you know, pretty much a free roll for us to run for the most part. If it's a bad matchup, just don't play it, and then your Fiend Artisans and Worst Riders work. But yeah, that's going to do it for today's video. For today's deck tech. Hopefully you guys are having a great Christmas. Hopefully I can make it slightly better and not slightly worse. Who knows? But yeah, hope you all have a great night and enjoy the video, guys. Take care. This video is brought to you by the generous support of our wonderful patrons and channel members that you see here. If you'd like to support the channel and get access to cool content like sneak peeks, bonus videos, polls on future content, or access to a personal deck critique from myself every month, then hit the join button down below, or check out the Patreon link in the description. With all that said, let's get into the gameplay. Okay, we're in, and I kind of like this hand actually. It's got turn 1 Stitcher Supplier. If Grafdigger's Cage is actually useful, then we can drop that down, but judging by the Narset sleeves, I'm going to go ahead and say it probably isn't. Tell a lot about a player by their sleeves. Ooh. That's pretty good. We can get down Gate to the Afterlife and also trigger Stitcher Supplier at the same time. I think we'll go ahead and do that. Love it, love it. Alright, so how much we got in here? 1, 2, 3. We need 6, I think. Yeah, 6. So hopefully Stitcher Supplier can get us there. Our opponent's on something Simic. I'm a little concerned they're going to drop red and just be the Neostorm deck, so I might actually drop down a Grafdigger's Cage as well. God damn, that was really bad. Oh my god. Okay, well, there's pretty much no chance whatsoever that Stitcher Supply is going to reveal enough, but we can get the Haunted Hightower in there and get a draw and discard as well. Okay, there's another 2. We're going to draw, discard. And actually, does that mean that we've got enough? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5... Yeah, we do. Yeah, okay. Search my library for a Godfarer's Gift. We will drop down a Grafdigger's Cage as well. And then we'll get the Haunt of Hightower as a 4/4, swinging as a 5/5 and making our opponent discard a card. Okay. Alright. Seems good. Okay, we're in. And this one's a good enough one for me. We've got Stitcher Supplier. No Phyrexian Tower like the last game, so we're not going to be able to cheat out the gate very quickly. But I think that's okay. We're up against a Gigantha deck, so I don't even know if we want it to be like Arcanist. They really can't do too much to us with like their Thought Seizing, for the most part. Unless they get it really early and grab this gate and then we never draw another one. That'd be pretty much up there on the only times that that's a problem. But as far as like sacrificing creatures is concerned, that's kind of what we want to be doing anyway. So we're going to go for it. This Grafdigger's Cage is kinda mostly dead. Actually, no, if it's Arcanist, it'd be okay. Oh. Llanowar Elves. I officially do not know what this is. But I will rather not take damage here. But I will offer a trade if Llanowar Elves wants to get in. Mox Amber. Oh, is this the, yeah, this is Paradox Engine combo. So we could be dead next turn. As strange as that sounds. Oh, mate, wait, whoa, 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 whoa. Maybe not. Maybe I have absolutely no idea what I'm looking at right now. I was expecting a Kinnan. Yeah, and Chromatic Sphering with Emery and Paradox Engine's an infinite combo of card draw. Well, we can't really, like, gate with the Priest next turn. So I think I'll just get the gate down now. That way my Stitcher Supply is worth a little bit more from the block, but these cards that we're drawing, they're not exactly doing much. So they crack the sphere just for a redraw there. Which is very interesting. Ah! That's a thing. That shuts down my gate to the Afterlife's activation to get Godfarer's Gift, so it looks like we're hard casting. And Sky Sovereign could have us dead pretty quick. We'll see how it goes. Yeah, I'll go after Khan. They might actually want to block here, because if they don't, then Khan will not be able to mine us without killing himself. That's at least the train of thought. I'm sure that Sky Sovereign... Oh, maybe not. 1, 2, 3, 4... Still could if they've got a spare Mox Amber. Sky Sovereign could come down and kill the Priest of the Forgotten Gods. I just really need another, like, Stitcher Supplier, I guess. Gonna bounce my Priest. Yeah, so they can do that every single turn now. Which is quite irritating. I don't think we're winning this one. We're gonna have to basically hardcast this Godfarer's Gift and then hope that, like, Haunt of Hightower gets us there. And there's a Fiend Artisan in the graveyard as well, but... Alright, well, I mean... You know, we get to replay our Priest here. Get to attack Khan again.
Your efforts are futile.
Opponent can do a wide variety of things here, like Sky Sovereign away the Priest. I will draw and discard, actually. I'll put this Haunt of Hightower in the graveyard, I think. Oh, maybe not. I don't know. The Stitcher Supplier. It's like, if I draw a land, that's the reason why I want to draw and discard, is to try and get to maybe casting Haunt of Hightower. Don't know if it'd be all that good, though, because it kind of comes down and dies immediately, doesn't it? So yeah, without Godfarer's Gift, it's probably not a good idea to drop it on in there. We'll go with a Stitcher Supplier instead.
Awaken.
And then this is a crew 3 unless Khan ticks up, which is perfectly good tick up. 1 mana away though from getting that Godfarer's Gift going. I guess maybe for that reason I should have actually waited. Oh god, I should have waited. Alright. Yeah, because now if they block, I would have gotten rid of the Stitcher Supplier and had the land ready to go. I'll still do all the drawing and discarding, because it's worth it for, like, Fiend Artisan's big power play. Alright, so let's get the GPG down next turn with a land drop. Can't play the Grafdigger's, the Worst Rider because of the Grafdigger's Cage. It's one of the only non-bows in the deck. Gigantha into hand, and then I'm assuming Sky Sovereign gets crewed by Khan.
There is great power in the things we make.
So that's something we do have to deal with, and then obviously they're going to go with the Stitcher Supplier. Okay, that was 1 land and 2 creatures. That's a card I really want, but I can't keep it. Ugh. I think it's still correct to take the blind draw there, but I'm really getting punished for that Stitcher Supplier play. Big time. It's not worth playing, is it? Again, like, I'll just... I guess I might as well. I'll put it in the graveyard, basically. I won't do the blind draw this time, though. I think we've got enough damage from our Fiend Artisans. 4/4s with +12/+12 at the moment. It probably should be good enough. Could also do a Haunt of Hightower to fly over and kill Khan, so that the crewing on Sky Sovereigns may be less likely. So I'm assuming they're going to go crew with Gigantha and then minus Khan. would be my guess. Problem is, if they get something like Meteor Golem, then they can just straight up kill this. And we've only got one left in the deck. One hope of victory. YOLO, I think it's not a land. God damn it! Damn it, okay. That's annoying. We're at 10. Come on, land. 32% chance to happen. Here we go. I don't know what Khan's gonna get, but I'm sure it's pretty bad for us. If I were them... Yep, I mean, that's an infinite combo. Alright, well. This went horrifically wrong. Apparently, Khan's a pretty good counter to us if we can't get our gate going, which, you know, we did pretty well to mill the wrong things, so that says a lot. Next game. Okay then, we're in, and this is an okay hand. We can do a lot of discarding and making zombies with the Crypt Breaker. I think we might want to go with that maybe as a turn 1 play. Thoughtseize, yep, pretty Thoughtseize proof. I imagine they're going to go with the Priest. And I do not know if Grafdigger's Cage is going to be useful in this matchup. They're not a Lurus list, so it's not Rakdos Arcanist. It's maybe like blue-black control or something like that. For that reason, I think Crypt Breaker's kind of the better card, because we don't have to resolve anything while Crypt Breaker's out. We can just keep discarding to make 2/2s. And we can get rid of this Grafdigger's Cage immediately if we don't think it's a good matchup. It's like a dredge deck kind of thing. Fair enough. Alright, so, I mean, we can stop Narcomoebas with a Grafdigger's Cage. Right. Can't enter the battlefield from the graveyard. Yeah, seems good enough to me. Fire it off and then hit 3 lands. Cool. That's what you love to see. We can start drawing cards with the activation here if we really wanted to as well. But it's entirely possible that the 1/1 beats are actually maybe a little bit more powerful. Thrill, Arclight Phoenix. It's pretty good. Alright. So let's just play our hand out, I guess. We'll go Crypt Breaker, Maya Triton, hope not to hit Gate to the Afterlife. We're so lucky. And actually, we don't want to play into Thoughtseize, so we're just going to get in with one Crypt Breaker here. Your entire board is zombies, so we can keep 1 point back, essentially, to draw a card, and then hopefully get ourselves a Gate to the Afterlife. Got 3 out of the 6 we need to enable that. These are Village Rites. Our opponent can't be too happy with the Grafdigger's Cage. They might be digging for an Abrade, maybe. It's just such a good card at the moment. You see so many graveyard decks. Well, another Cage is fine. Let's go Maya Triton. Land Godfarer's Gift. Sure. I think because our opponent is so committed to what seems to be like Arclight Phoenixes and whatnot, we're going to actually... Actually, we're not going to draw again. We're going to do exactly what we said we wouldn't do. Get in for 3 points, leave back enough to draw a card. Play around Thoughtseize. Yeah, these beats might just be good enough at this rate. They could kind of force my hand into drawing into a Thoughtseize if I'm not careful by, like, Bone Crusher Gianting the Maya Triton, and then I have to do this in response, but they're not going to do that. Got a Woe Strider. Ooh, baby! Gate to the Afterlife. Alright, well now we've got exactly what we need, so it's just a matter of getting it to flip. which should be doable. This is 2 to flip, so with a land I can play a War Strider and start dumping my entire deck into the grave. Cute little deck from our opponent, for sure. Thoughtseize. Fair enough. How many things have we got in there now? 1, 2, 3, 4. Alright. I'm just going to keep beating down, because I actually think we might just get with the normal beats here. Like, they maybe have to like, Anger of the Gods, Sweltering Suns, to stop us from just winning. That was a really strange game, but yeah, I guess I'll take it. I guess I'll take it. Okay. On the draw against the Lurrus list. I really wanted Stitch the Supplier in this hand, but we do have a Phyrexian Tower, which is really nice. I'm going to keep him. We're going to see what happens. Yeah, so Priest of the Forgotten Gods is pretty decent against auras, as long as they can't get out loads of creatures in time, which, unfortunately, they probably can. It's like Core Spirit Dancer is protected from the Priest's Sacrifice because of the Selfless Savior at the moment. But we will at least make them find more creatures. And threaten to block with the Stitcher Supplier at the very least. Maya Triton as well forces them to at least sack the Selfless Savior to give Indestructible because of the Death Touch. But this is a deck that has quite a fair few ways of making creatures fly, for example. And therefore that's not so relevant. Yeah, I have a hard time seeing how we win this one. Our opponent has everything they need to beat us now. Indestructibility to beat my Choop. Protection spells to beat my Choop. Excessive creatures to beat the Choop. Well, we're just going to go Maya Triton, mill a little bit. Start making them sacrifice. Target players lose 2, yeah. I guess I probably should swing for 1 first. Because they're gonna basically sacrifice anyway, right? Jump in the front of it if you really want to. So might as well try getting the extra point of damage, which we successfully managed to do. Okay, those are some fine cards to mill over there. Get rid of the Savior. Ooh, Gate to the Afterlife. Yeah, we want to drop that down right now. We want to be looking at, like, getting Choops out and all sorts now. And Fiend Artisans trying to race this Core Spirit Dancer. We don't want to see it get lifelink, which our survey says. Well, it's Vigilance. I would love to see them tap out, though. But they're not silly. They do know what they're doing. Okay, so if I played Phyrexian Tower, I would have a fair bit of mana. So I need 2 to do the Gate to the Afterlife. So this will be 3. It's 1 short of the Chupacabra, which is really what I want here. We do have a Choop in the graveyard, so we can force that as well. Or maybe even get the Haunt of Hightower in as a 4/4 lifelinker, but no. Doesn't seem like that's going to be useful to us. Yeah, I think I'm just going to go for like Fiend Artisan and the Gate to the Afterlife. Start making them use the Alseed to protect and whatnot. So there should be one in my library. Doesn't really matter if you don't know where it is, because you can always change on the side here as well. But you want the one from your library, because you don't really want to be drawing it necessarily. We'll play the Fiend Artisan as an 8/8. Pretty sizable threat, if I do say so myself. And then we've got Choop out of the graveyard to get rid of the Core Spirit, the Alseid, sorry. Which we want to do. We've got one in hand as well, so if they don't have another Alseid or Selfless Savior, then we do have them there. In fact, we've even got the Priest of Forgotten Gods now that I think about it. We can just make them sack now. I don't know why I didn't think about that. Yeah, let's do that now. Okay. I didn't think we were winning that one, but I also just straight up did not see the priest line where we had several creatures. I don't know. My bad, but we won, so pretty good. Okay, on the play, we've got a Priest, a Phyrexian Tower to do some sacrificing, as well as a Woe Strider, and we got our Gate to the Afterlife as well. I like this hand. It can definitely get rolled over by quite a few decks in the format, though. It may just be a little bit too slow. We want some of our 1-drops, like Grafdigger's Cage as a little bit of a safety valve. Is always nice. But otherwise, you know, Phyrexian Tower in the opening hand. A little bit of removal. Our actual combo piece as well. It's all good. It's all good. Calm down, chat. Calm down. We've got this. We got this. Well, maybe our opponent doesn't. Do they have their hand on the mouse? They do. Alright. It's a mountain to lead off with. Okay. So we're going to go Priest. Next turn, Phyrexian Tower Gate. I think you want to get this down early, just in case your opponent's like Burn and they want to push through your creatures. Then at least you gain life and a loot effect. So it's goblins. Yeah, this is the one that we don't like. This is the one where we actually specifically run Grafdigger's Cage to take care of. I am still going to go with a Gate to the Afterlife here, I think. Because we're going to basically Stitcher Supplier and Priest to take care of a 1/1 token. Or Choop to take care of an Instigator. I think Choop next turn is probably what I want to do. And if we don't draw a land, then Phyrexian Tower gives us that loot on the Gate to the Afterlife. Into the Choop. They've got Tower of their own. This allows them to get Muxus out really quickly. Yeah, we actually really do want the draw and discard. This is actually what I wanted to see. We get to block 2 points of damage, benefit slightly from it. It's a swamp, so we will get rid of, at this point, probably Priest of the Forgotten Gods. Play our swamp, play our Choop. Get rid of the Chieftain. Stops the haste, so maybe a Muxus doesn't just win on the spot. It probably does, but it usually does. So got 5 mana now. I would say no attacks from them. Oof. So our time to win the game has now kind of long gone. If they've got Muxus in their hand, they probably win. We've got 2 creatures. I could Stitcher Supplier into Phyrexian Tower sack. I wouldn't be able to play the other Gate to the Afterlife, though, with this play. But I might not need to. Haunt of Hightower, nice. So let's sack the Stitcher Supplier. Mill 3, draw and discard, put the Woe Strider in the graveyard. So I can actually now play Gate to the Afterlife. Activate. Go grab a Godfarrow's Gift from my library. And then figure out what creature best serves us here. And it might just be the Haunt of Hightower. Swing for 5, make them discard. I mean, it's probably the best thing we can do is put a threat in the air. Yeah. I don't think I can mill anything with like a Stitch of Supply that really kind of changes the game here. So I'll leave my Choop back to block. So we might need to block the Muxus specifically. I also put a counter on the Haunt if they use the Phyrexian Tower on anything but this creature token. Which is cute. Krenko into the trash, that's never a good sign. They have the ability to have haste here, so it's never a good sign. So that's almost guaranteed. Opponent has Muxus. Or Spare Krenko. I guess Spare Krenko also means pretty much the exact same thing. See if they all attack here. I will block the War Chief, but I imagine they don't want to go for that. I'm going to put a creature in the graveyard, or a card in the graveyard for Haunt. And kind of hope for the best, really. Do we have any... We don't have any Fiend Artisans in here. Gate to the Afterlife doesn't do anything additional, really. I guess I could get rid of Krenko Mob Boss, actually, with Phyrexian Tower. So if we play Gate to the Afterlife, we Phyrexian Tower the Chupacabra. We'll use that to kill Krenko Mob Boss with one of our Godfarer's Gift triggers. Fiend Artisan for the other. Get rid of the Maya Triton, I suppose. Go grab from our library our last Godfarer's Gift. And see what we can do. I think it's Krenko anyway, because he's already got his Summoning Sickness removed now, so he'd be able to activate next turn and make too many tokens. So the War Chief's not really doing too much for us, I don't think. Although, actually, no, don't be stupid. You've got lethal. Don't be stupid. Good lord. Can you tell it's late? Swing for lethal. Probably shouldn't have won that game. Hopefully our opponent shows us they had Muxus. And there's Conspicuous Snoop. Alright. It's pretty hefty threat. Again, with the oversight, I'm gonna expect lots of comments for this one, which is, why didn't you do this? And I'm just gonna say, I don't know. I don't know why I didn't do half the things I probably didn't do, because apparently, you know, I almost missed lethal on that one. We're focusing way too much on, you know, the possibility that we didn't just win on the spot, which is the case. I suppose when I was originally, and this is my excuse, when I was originally thinking about the turn cycle, Fiend Artisan wasn't even in the graveyard, so the possibility of this wasn't really there, but even so, I think we already probably still had lethal in that case. But yeah, taking down goblins, that's probably not going to happen very often, but if we draw our Grafdigger's Cage, it gets a little bit more likely to happen at least, so pretty good. Okay, on the draw. Got a Crypt Breaker to discard, Maya Triton to mill, Grafdigger's Cage to potentially not die. We'll keep this one. This one's, it's a not really too happy keep. Buried Ruin for our opponent, so this is not a Grafdigger's Cage matchup. I don't believe it is, anyway. Actually, no, it could be. If they've got Mystic Sanctuary, it's a pretty good card. We don't need to cast it just yet, though. We'll just go with the Maya Triton first, and then hope to draw something good. Well, we got rid of two pretty crappy cards, so that's nice, at the very least. Silver Lining and all. Let's go Guardian Idol. Misses a land drop. Interesting. Alright, well, gate to the afterlife, swing for 3. We're going to try and put some pressure on their life total, even if it's not great pressure. There's a Forsaken Monument. Alright, so this is kind of where things get a little bit sketchy. If they've got the Mystic Forge, I will want to cage right now. Probably shouldn't have even played my land, actually, because we could have drawn Phyrexian Tower. Should have waited on that. We're going to get him for 3. I am going to play Woe Strider. And I think for my own safety, I probably do need to go Grafdigger's Cage in case they have the combo right now. And then we'll pass the turn. So they've got 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 mana. So if they've got an Ulamog, they can cast an Ulamog. If they've got an Ugin, we can sack our board away after they mine us. And then try to flip our gate.
Fragile and fleeting. Cherish what little you find.
So I'm curious, they actually really don't necessarily have to tick down. They could tick up and just kill Woe Strider, and I kind of feel like I'm forced to sack my board away anyway. Got no creatures in there, so I have to sack these 2. So they're going to go for the -3. Right, well now we definitely start sacking. Do we start with a goat? It's going anyway, so we'll sack it to scry and then... yeah, I guess so. We're looking for things to put in the trash anyway. Specifically, like, Fiend Artisan carries us here. There's a Woe Strider. I'll be using the Stitcher Supplier here to try and win the game. Gate to the Afterlife's not going to do it for us. Let's loot again. Priest is not going to do it for us. Priest is also not going to do it for us. Seeing a theme here. Feeling like we're not really getting the cards we need. So we've got 4 cards in the yard. We're going to go with a Stitcher Supplier first. Just in case, miraculously, we managed to draw something that we needed. Go with another Gate to the Afterlife. It's really bad for us. So now they can -1. Well, they can probably tick up. I would probably -1 if I were them, or even blow up the Blast Zone, or just win. One or the other. They don't want to be filling my graveyard necessarily, but... oh, they could just play Karn and shut off my entire game plan. Alright, well, this is really awful, so next game. Alright. On the play. We don't have the most explosive hand, but it's good. It's got a curve. Got turn 1 Crypt Breaker, turn 2 Maya Triton. Or turn 2 Priest, actually, because we want to be able to Maya Triton into a Snacrifice. Temple of Mystery is a little bit spooky. It could be Neo Storm, and in which case we will want to Priest kill the 2-drop they play here. Just land and pass for them. Fair. I'm gonna go with a Maya Triton after we attack here. So it's blue-green tempo. Alright. I can see we're gonna have no fun here. Let's go with a Fiend Artisan. Yeah, this is anyone's worst nightmare, actually. It's basically the deck... oh my god, are you kidding me? Oh! Okay, well, at least we can get rid of that card, but it costs us a Fiend Artisan at this rate. Which is not very nice. I'll offer to trade. It's honestly just easier for me. Let's go with a Woe Strider. That way I have 2 creatures to sack to the priest. Yeah, so land go. I'm unsure how we resolve anything, ever. But I will get him for 3. Like, if they've got Night Pack Ambusher, we don't really care. Do we want to take 3 to draw a card here? Or do I just want to play the Maya Triton? Guess I'll just play the Maya Triton. Opens up their counter spells, but we kind of want the Triton in the graveyard anyway, right? Let's get rid of that. It's not the greatest sack target, but I'm hoping our draw is good. It's fine, actually. It's a 5/5. It's respectable. More lands is less respectable. So we're going to get in. There's a certain merfolk that makes our Fiend Artisan a 1/1. Would not be too pleased to see that. And I guess we're just going to play a Haunt of Hightower. Because we can. It's going to... well... maybe not. Yeah, maybe we'll just take 2 and draw a card here. Right, that was kind of not great for them. If I'd have drawn a 2-drop here, I've killed their ambusher, but lucky for them, I'm not lucky, so... you know, that's actually the best outcome for them. It was a really weird ambush, as it were. So I'm just gonna X4 Fiend Artisan here and sack the priest for a Choop. Got Stifle. Choop. Boop. I don't think this does anything. Unless I got Trench or Gear Hulk. I think even then, maybe... that's maybe its only application. Anything else, it's more of a hindrance to us, I think. So we're not going to play that. Night Pack Ambusher again. We'll Choop again. I'm going to need it around, though. Unsummon. Expected as much. Lol. Okay. So they counter this because we didn't say please. They mill us, which is what we wanted. Did get rid of Gate to the Afterlife, which we would have preferred, but... get rid of the Ambusher. Swing for 2, put them to 6. Who's on defense now, opponent? So if they've got another Night Pack Ambusher, that taps them out and I play a Haunt of Hightower. To offer a trade here. Most of the things that they can play here. Flash Speed basically is an X2, I think. Let's see, I must have... yeah, I've got plenty in here just to escape a Woe Strider. So, Gate to the Afterlife. Other Woe Strider. Priest. Crypt Breaker. This baits out the counterspell, then we'll go for the Maya Triton. They kind of know about our Woe Striders, so, you know. Doesn't do us much of a... oh, come on with the gates getting milled there. playing Secret Maya Triton doesn't really do as many favors. Omen of the Sea. So, they are forced to block. They will trade with the Maya Triton, presumably. Looking at the bottom. To try and maybe find a blocker for the Chupacabra. And their horrible deck has lost. Alright. Cool. I didn't think I was going to win that one. I honestly thought about quitting a few times. That's what, you know, Simic Tempo's main win con is after all. I'm sure most of you are aware of that. It's pretty similar to Rogues in Standard for that same reason. But yeah, we managed to get there. I think mostly it was due to finding as many Chupacabras as we did. Really hate the fact that we kept milling over our gates, though, because we had more than enough in here to absolutely destroy our opponent. I guess they could have had, like, Brazen Borrower to bounce the gates. That's kind of a little bit of a gotcha for our deck. But for some reason, they're running unsummons. So, unless this is, like, 5th copy of this effect, they maybe don't have Brazen Borrowers and they're on the budget. I mean, this is kind of... It's kind of old school Flash as well. So, yeah, I think even in Historic, if you were playing Flash, you'd probably want blue-black Rogues or whatever, but yeah. Is what it is. Next game. We go first. We have turn 1 Stitcher Supplier with Phyrexian Tower into Gate to the Afterlife. Alright. This is pretty good. We don't want to see Thoughtseize. Thoughtseize would upset us. But yeah, it's not a bad start. I don't think you ever... You certainly don't mull a hand like this specifically because Thoughtseize ruins it. You never really mull because Thoughtseize. It's pretty much a losing strategy most of the time, but hope for some good mills with Stitcher Supplier here. Okay, 2 out of 3 ain't bad. Opponent Stitchers as well, so we are in the casual queue, so it's very likely that we are mirror matching. The game really likes to do that a lot. I don't think it's a good idea, actually, to offer the trade here, because then we can't play Gate ahead of our opponent, which I think is our advantage right now. We don't really want to trade off their Stitcher Supplier anyway. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4. We are very close. Very close indeed. In fact, we already have Godfarer's Gift already now with what we have in play. Funnily enough. So we have Crypt Breaker into Phyrexian Tower Sacrifice. Our opponent might actually scoop to this based off of how effective we are at winning. And then we go Gate to the Afterlife, grab our Godfarer's Gift. I might start with a Chupacabra actually to get rid of Crypt Breaker. That way we can swing on through. Fiend Artisan was always going to get blocked anyway, so unless our opponent's running Graveyard, hey, I don't see the reason not to do what we did. Ooh, Emery. Emery's a pretty good one, and a good reason to be in blue-black. For sure. So we can play our lands. We can actually flip the other one, right? There's 1, 2, 3, 4. No, we need some more creatures in the graveyard, actually, in order to flip this Gate to the Afterlife. Unless we go with Stitcher Supplier off the other Godfarer's Gift. But we'd have to do that later. So for now, we're gonna go with Stitcher Supplier here. This allows us to swing for 8. Opponent will block with a Stitcher Supplier, presumably. They didn't. Wow, okay. And yeah, I think we're gonna get rid of our 4/4 here. Gives us the mana we need to get the other gate out, and I don't think we can really get punished for having 2 Godfarer's Gifts in play. If anything, I think that pretty much guarantees we're going to win. So our opponent will take their turn to play out Emery and their Gate to the Afterlife. Phyrexian Tower is the best draw they could have had, because that allows them then to sack the Stitcher Supplier with the mana then to Gate to the Afterlife. And I don't think they can kill us, but I think we can definitely force them to block with a lot of stuff. We have Fiend Artisan in here. A Chupacabra would have been nice, I guess, but we don't have that. Can use more Stitcher Suppliers, I guess, to fill it up if we can't win here. But, you know, I think we got this. It's like maybe what they want to think about doing is going for Cavalier. Two blockers, though. So, let's go Woe Strider. Could play the other Woe Strider with our Phyrexian Tower, I suppose, as well. Would I prefer to use it as a Scry, though? It's hard to say. I don't want to throw my Fiend Artisan under the bus, though, right now, because it has Cavalier potential right here. I guess we'll just go for it for now. We will start with, I think, 2 Stitcher Suppliers, actually. Fill up the yard. Try and make our next turn even better. Maya Triton's being Death Touching's kind of nice. Okay, so they'll block, 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 take 4. We got the block and sack on the goat token, preferably, maybe, possibly, if they go for the Cavalier. I guess actually this does technically allow me to sack the other Woe Strider in response. One sacks the other, so I don't think there's any way Cavalier can gain them life now. Seven creatures in the yard, so they can get double Godfarer's Gift as well. Is it enough, though? So our board state is bigger than theirs. And that's pretty much what this comes down to a lot of the time. Alright, so double gift. Opponent gets 2 triggers. Cavalier can't actually kill anything without something else to sack as well, by the way. So that might not be what they want. I mean, it's still a 4/4 lifelinker at the end of the day. And they do have a Fiend Artisan to make me block. Make is a strong word, but we have a 0/1, so it doesn't matter. I guess with their last card, they could maybe Stitcher Supplier? We've seen a few of them, haven't we? Oh, we've seen all of them. I guess an Emery would also be another 1-drop they could have had there to sack to Cavalier. Alright. Going wide, I won't block. Got no reason to. Chupacabra, I think, just means that we win now. We'll hit the Woe Strider with this. Gets rid of 1 blocker, we got plenty now. They could Fatal Push, I guess. I doubt that's in their deck, though. These Godfarer's Gift decks tend to want to have as many creatures as possible. Mine has almost exclusively creatures outside of Grafdigger's Cage, and obviously the Gate to the Afterlives. Everything else is kind of just lands or creatures here, but yeah, we managed to get it there. Blue-black gets taken down, mostly because we were quicker. I think if we'd have durdled a little bit, we might have been in trouble, especially considering they have a greater kind of mill capability with the Emerys and Stitcher Suppliers as a nice little combo there. But yeah, pretty good. Anyway, guys, that is going to do it for today's video. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed, and if you did, would really appreciate if you do hit that like button and subscribe if you haven't yet done so already. And finally, hopefully you guys have a great Christmas as well, and happy holidays, happy new year, all that jazz. And I'm officially going to go on my vacation now, so take care, guys. Hope you've had a good night.